This new game is called Marathon. Now, the reason why a lot of people are talking about it is obviously, like most things these days, is not for anything good. The Marathon gameplay reveal has come with a little bit of information that I think a lot of people should know. But people are screaming Concord 2.0 with this. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the trailer. I have it here pulled up. We'll look at the trailer together and kind of get impressions. But one thing I think is pertinent information is that, and I think this is the thing I'm going to have the biggest issue with. This is what I said in my video, was that this is not a free-to-play game. It's sure as fuck looks like it, but it's not a free-to-play game. It is a game that's going to charge you not full price, but it's going to charge you probably $40 entry, very similar to Concord. So they're pulling a Firewalk Studios where they're entering a team shooter style arena that is highly competitive against mostly free-to-play titles, if not almost all free-to-play titles. And they're charging you a premium to join their game when nobody else charges you anything.
Straight up looks like a female version of Ronan the Accuser.
Yes. Yes.
You know, speaking of the character design, just real quick, I want you guys to like pay attention. Are there any guys in the trailer?
Oh shit!
Because when I watched the trailer, I was like, is everybody a woman? Because like everyone has like this face right here. So like
either women.
Maybe
or
I'm
robots.
wrong.
Right. So I believe this game is not necessarily a team shooter per se. I think it's more of like what do you call that?
Extraction shooter.
It's like an extraction shooter. Yeah, it's more like that. But regardless, it is a team-oriented shooter that is going to, basically charge you a price to go into entry. And they would not even make it a point of conversation unless they knew that people were expecting them to basically compete against free-to-play games. They brought it up. They haven't told anybody the price yet, but they had to tell people that they are going to charge for it. And it makes you wonder, why would they even bring it up? Because obviously people are comparing them to free-to-play titles. So, but let's check this out. Here we go. I was about to say Concord. Jesus Christ. Marathon from Bungie. Really quick, I hate this. I hate.
I think the creators of Halo and Destiny as it's going to be anything like Halo and Destiny.
Like they still fucking work there. Shut up.
Exactly. I hate this. When they do this, they know exactly what they're doing because there ain't nobody that still works there. They, at least not many anyway. They worked on the original Halo and Destiny that people actually liked. Like, no, that's not a thing. More so probably Destiny than Halo.
Rocksteady are still the same fuckers who made Arkham Asylum.
Exactly.
I'm not gonna hate because I keep on talking about Black Ops 4 in the beginning of my videos. So
no, I get it. Listen, ride the wave of whatever success you had. I understand, but just from a studio perspective, like I just see it as a little bit insulting because that's like maybe people just look at it from a basic point of view. But
you worked on the game, like you actually did, like. Who's to say there's still creators that belong, are at Bungie's that actually can say the same thing about their games? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm gonna start selling my manga. I'm gonna start selling my manga on a line of from a fan of Bleach comes a new manga.
From a fan of Bleach. I like that. All right, let's continue. I'm gonna play the whole thing through and then we'll talk about it.
I don't know, man. I'm not seeing anything happen.
Death. The end of all things. But the dream is not over. My dream. Yours. Now. Run.
music is ass.
The whole trailer's ass.
This game looks like they're trying to essentially steal Ape Sex Legend players, but it's like, bro, Titanfall 3 is coming out. So
I can't see my eyes, but I was rolling them the entire trailer, dude.
Bruh.
This shit looks like modded Destiny.
It looks bad. Exactly.
Like
even like the
came out in 2008 that I still wouldn't have bought in 2008.
Yeah.
Nothing about this resembles the original Marathon. Like, I'm mildly familiar with the original Marathon that came out on Mac, and it looked mostly like Doom. And this looks this hardly resembles it at all. Like, the only thing that has like that's mildly familiar to Marathon is that Marathon was like Doom, but rather than fighting demons, you're fighting aliens, and there was like some AI stuff involved, and that is in this trailer, the AI stuff. But other than that, it's very different.
Well,
yeah, I saw a picture on Twitter.
A player, right? We're getting a campaign for this, right?
No, not to my knowledge. No.
What?
So wait, it's just the extraction mode. There's no like.
Dude, even Destiny didn't have a campaign, did it? Like.
So what is this? Okay, my first question, really quick. What is this supposed to compete with? Like Helldivers, I guess.
No.
Good fucking luck.
No. Well, it's a Sony
like
game.
Gameplay-wise,
obviously, they don't want it to compete with their own IPs. But this is looking like it's trying to compete with free-to-play games, despite not being free-to-play. So
it does look like a free-to-play game
like
to me.
A free-to-play. Yeah, you're right. That's
Marvel Rivals. Is that what it's supposed to go up against?
Yeah, I can't wait for the PlayStation fanboys to defend this one, because PlayStation fanboys were shitting on Halo Infinite in terms of visuals. They're like, this doesn't look that good. It doesn't look that good. This shit looks worse.
Yep.
Yeah,
it does.
So from I don't know. I guess let's start from our let's break it down, man. Graphically speaking, it's definitely got that modern audience vibe a little bit. It's got that like high contrast colors kind of a thing going. A lot of pink, a lot of purple, a lot of green. In terms of whether or not, lighting. I mean, I'm trying to pause right on this creature. There we go. Yeah. So,
looks like a Tranoid. Yeah.
In terms of whether or not there's a man in the trailer, I saw a few. But the thing is, the ironic thing is that the men that I think are men can't see their faces. The women, you could clearly see their faces. But the men are armored up, can't see their faces. So, but I'm just judging based off the body type. But then again, you never know these days. The helmet could come off.
I'm in a video game. Like,
what happened?
I'm just happy to see Lady Gaga getting into the game industry. Like,
oh my god,
that's what it is.
That
is right.
Like, as far as visuals, I feel like a big mistake a lot of developers go for is it's unique, but unique does not mean good. Unique is not the same thing as good.
Didn't they use that same excuse with Concord when they were trying to say like it's a very, very unique style, like realistic, but also cartoony models in a way, not necessarily
unique means you stand out. Unique is not the same as good.
Sometimes when you stand out, it's usually not for a good reason.
It's fucking same now anyway, so it doesn't stand out.
This game looks so like it's competing with Halo's leftovers. I don't know if you guys played a game called Splitgate. I played it for a little while. It was actually pretty fun.
Yeah,
but it never got that mainstream attention or appeal. But Splitgate,
isn't that getting a sequel?
The second one is trans as fuck.
It looks terrible. The second one, but the first game was actually pretty solid for what it was. It was a Halo clone, but it was really fun Halo clone, and that even looks better than this. This game, like, not to come off as like relatively disrespectful, but I was saying on Twitter, it looks like it was made by a small handful of people. Like, if they said, "Oh, coming from independent developers in this new group," I would be like, "Oh, that's kind of impressive for them, shout out to them." But this is made by Bungie under Sony, so it's like this is not impressive to me.
When I first heard about the game, I didn't know who actually made it. I was just going based off pictures that were being spread on Twitter, and people were talking about marathon. I'm like, the fuck is marathon? And I'm looking at the pictures. I'm like, all right, this is probably some like, I don't know, indie to most likely AA style. I got to find out who the developer is. And then eventually, as I'm looking for, stories today, I find out, they dropped the gameplay trailer. So I was like, all right, let me react to it. And I realized, oh, it's Bungie. Like, this is Bungie. This is not some small studio. So I got to imagine there was a lot of people that worked on this game, but the product is just not, it's not screaming to me a big team. Like you said, it's screaming most likely AA at best.
Like 12
at best.
people.
But I've seen indie games look like this these days. I was reacting to, I don't know if you guys have watched it, the Triple I Initiative showcase, where it was like an hour
reaction to that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was like an hour of indie games.
Yeah.
And some of these indie games that are coming out, bro, I mean, my God, dude, we're talking like Elden Ring level graphics and gameplay. It's wild how good some of these indie developers are. So when I see something like this, and I'm no longer impressed anymore. And maybe that's just me becoming more black pilled. I really don't know, but I'm not impressed. Like, this is a big studio. This is not, and also, this is also not a noob studio either. This is a studio that has made games like this in the past, right? They have experience. They like to tell you they did Halo, they did Destiny. All right, so why the fuck does this look like this then? Yeah. I feel like it could look a lot better for a studio of this size. Am I crazy? I mean, I don't know.
No, you're on the ball. Like, when we look at indie
No, he's
devs,
crazy.
naturally our expectations are low, not in a disrespectful way, but sometimes you're getting games made by one person or 10 people or even more than that. So like naturally our expectations are low, but they constantly impress us with all this insane stuff that they're able to do. Having essentially a lot of things stacked against them naturally, and then AAA, they have all this money at their disposal, and all these all these little gimmicks that, oh well, like you said, with oh, this is coming from the creators of Halo and Destiny, like our expectations are way higher, and these games are more expensive, and it doesn't impress us.
Do you feel like if this was not made by Bungie and it had the same graphics and same everything, whatever, do you feel like you would be more lenient on it? Or do you feel like you're being a little more critical because of the history of the developer making it?
I'm definitely more critical because I expect more of Bungie. They
What
are
was the
capable a lot. But if this was made by an indie team of some sort, even if it was a relatively bigger indie team and I never heard of them before, oh shit, okay. Like, it's not necessarily my style, but I could see that, hey, they're trying to shoot out here. They're trying to, take down Apex Legends. I mean, like, if if a small indie team is trying to do that, I mean, they're aiming high, even if it's not necessarily my style.
I do want to put something out there really quick, really fast, Will, about this game being compared to Concord. I don't think it's going to be the same situation, even though we are going to see similarities between the two, especially with the price point entry fee. I just don't think it's going to happen because Firewalk Studios was relatively unknown for the most part. Nobody really, nobody cared about them. They didn't have the legacy and the history of Bungie. No matter what you feel about them, they do have a legacy behind them. And I think that's enough to carry them through to some initial sales. But then word of mouth is going to decide whether or not they become successful or not, I think, with this title. Whereas with Concord, it was cooked from the beginning. I mean, obviously with the fucking pronoun stuff, the characters being god awfully ugly, and overall the design looking bland and boring, and then nobody knows who you are on top of that, and you're charging a fucking fee when you're trying to compete with Overwatch and Valorant, who are free to play. Yeah, that's a recipe for disaster, Whereas this, I think Bungie's name will carry it through, at least through the initial small hurdle, and then the rest, is kind of up in the air. Sorry, Will, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask, what was the game that was the second trailer at the Real Game Awards that kicked up all the Hell's Delight for being featured? The FPS that we all said looked super impressive. Because
second game?
Yeah, it was the trailer that was basically like a really fun looking indie FPS. It doesn't necessarily matter, but the point is, it was mid-tier looking FPS, but we were all super impressed because it was indie. If you turned around and told me that was made by Bungie, I'd
talking about
the Real Game Awards. Yeah, the trailer where they
that developer that went crazy. That one's
we went nuts. I can't think what the game was called, but that was it. Solatro, yeah. I think no way was it? I don't fucking remember, but it doesn't matter.
It's Sulaco.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. So like, all I'm saying is that was a decent looking game for an indie
I'm
dev.
sorry, Celaco with an E, not O. Celaco, Selaco. That's the game.
Right.
Celaco.
So I mean, all I'm saying at the end of the day is that that's like a modest looking FPS that looked like a lot of fun, and everyone was really kind to it because it's indie. If you told me that was made by Bungie, I'd have been like, what the fuck are they doing?
Yeah.
So that's
now,
it.
didn't some of the Firewalk team go over to these other PlayStation studios, including Bungie? Didn't some of them get absorbed into these studios from Concord?
I think so.
Because they didn't
Wouldn't be
fire everybody. They shut down the studio, don't get me wrong, and they fired most of the people. But I believe I remember seeing some people were moved over, not necessarily to this game. I'm just saying in general, like they moved over. I believe some of them went to Bungie and other studios within PlayStation. So I gotta imagine if Firewalk Studios, imploded on itself, those people, the gaming industry, unfortunately, they kind of fail upwards. Like we see this happen all the time. So I wouldn't be surprised if some Concord people landed on this game. Like, oh, round 2, baby. I wouldn't be surprised.
Interestingly, somebody put out it was Icon Era, like a year ago or more, a year and a half, 2 years ago, put out an article saying that Firewalk Studios was filled with veterans from Bungie and loads of other like Activision and Raven Software, Respawn, and BioWare. So then they've just ended up back where they started. Then, if that's the case,
I'm trying to think of what could be considered some of the most popular extraction shooters, because I feel like this kind of a genre is not that big.
Tarkov?
Yeah, Tarkov is the biggest
Tarkov
one.
is probably the biggest one, yeah.
Tarkov? What's the player base for Tarkov looking like on average?
It's hard to say.
It's escape from Tarkov, right?
Yeah, it's its own thing. It's not on Steam, so it's hard to say what the numbers are.
Oh, okay. So what's something that's like we can tangibly look at that is, Hunt Showdown? Is Hunt Showdown an extraction shooter?
Yeah.
I mean that game's not that crazy, right?
Not really, but it is a Crytek game.
It is a Crytek game, that I know. Yeah, I don't know. Latino Heat saying Division 2. Is Division 2 considered a extraction shooter?
Yeah, but that hasn't been popping for a while.
Yeah, that game. Like I haven't heard anything from the Division.
It's stayed alive for a long time.
Somebody in the chat said Warframe.
Warframe
is
a pretty good example, except it's third person.
One thing that I keep thinking about with this trailer is that they're just grossly mishandling the IP. Like, I mean, I'm not like some super fan of Marathon or anything. I barely played it. I had a friend who had a Mac and he had Marathon, but it's like, why even use Marathon if they're gonna make a game that looks nothing like it, that hardly resembles it? Like, if they wanted to build off the universe and be like, okay, we're kind of bringing back Marathon, we want to make this spin-off game that's within the universe, they can do something like Apex Legends, which is within the universe of Titanfall, and just is a spin-off, it's different gameplay. But this reminds me of, I don't know if you guys remember, on the Xbox 360 there was a Shadowrun multiplayer game that just, like, it came out and it died instantly because no one thinks multiplayer shooter when they think Shadowrun. Shadowrun is, an RPG, and then they made this completely online multiplayer game, and everyone's like, what is this Shadowrun game? And it just died instantly. I feel like the same thing with Marathon. They're just completely mishandling the IP. Like, hey, we have this IP, let's just use it. None of the fans are going to want to play this game.
I feel like since considering it's an extraction shooter, from the games that I can see, they don't usually have pretty large player bases, but they usually have pretty dedicated player bases. So if it's a game that is liked by a small group of people, usually it could carry the game through. And I think, like I said earlier, I think Bungie's name is going to give them the initial player base that they need, and then it's up to Bungie to keep them. Right? It's kind of like what we saw, even though Helldivers is a little bit different. What we saw with Helldivers, they had a massive influx of players, and they just didn't keep them. Right? They dropped from, 460,000 concurrent players on Steam to now they average 50K or so, which is still a good number. Don't get me wrong, but you clearly lost a lot of your player base. So I guess I don't know. We have to see, I suppose.
Bro,
Do you
it's
guys
insane.
think this is going to be a game that's going to have any kind of longevity?
Nope.
I'm looking at the character
No.
designs, and I got to tell you, man, they are wholly
Generic.
uninteresting.
Completely
Yeah.
generic. That's my main takeaway, is that the world looks uninspiring. It's just a bunch of like bright geometric shapes, and the characters look very generic. They look like crash test dummies. Like I don't care about any of what was happening on the screen.
Yeah,
It's-
no, I was like ungripped the entire time.
I'm looking at pictures of the original Marathon, and it's so crazy.
Oh, don't do
because
that.
It really looks like a futuristic Doom first-person shooter. It
Can you
looks
bring it
really
up?
cool.
Can you
Like
put
I
it on
wish
screen?
wish I had the opportunity to play it, but Bungie made Mac games back in the day, and I didn't know what the fuck a Mac was. I had a Packard Bell.
Oh, nice.
So,
Wow. I remember
See,
that.
this I thought was a man, but again, all the male figures have helmets on, so they're not showing the faces of the people.
yeah, this
Which is
is
very-
nothing like what you'd expect.
It's like when game series would get revived after like 20 years, a couple of generations ago, and they would look nothing like the original. Like they did it with Bomberman, for example. And that was like a really cute, cartoony graphics kind of game. And then when it came back, it was all like dark and
Super
mechanical
serious.
looking and it was fucking awful.
Y'all need
Yeah.
to watch the actual gameplay. It's so meh. Like just
For
It's
what?
so weird
for
because
a marathon, this new one.
this
The actual
game,
gameplay.
like from what I'm seeing of Marathon, it's looking like you fighting like these bug-like creatures. I'm not sure if that's exactly what they're inspired by, but they look sort of bug-like or just otherworldly, and it's like, what are we fighting in this game? It's like, are you guys so desperate to recreate
Jumper.
Halo or something?
Yeah, in the original, you're fighting aliens, and also there's some AI elements that were speaking to you, and some of them were like, "Oh, I'm this genius AI, but yet my job is to open this door for you, so my life sucks."
Yeah, I was getting the vibe of like humanoid bugs, but I guess they are aliens, and I think that that's so much more interesting than what the fuck is this, you know?
I don't know.
Anything
I
would be more interesting.
And
What was
even
that?
this like big planet that's floating in the sky the whole time, it just reminds me of Destiny, having the giant whatever the fuck it was. I can't even
It
remember
just looks
anymore.
like Destiny to me. Like as somebody that played a lot of Destiny, like a lot of it, just looks like modded Destiny. I'm not interested.
It does. That's exactly right. It looks like they've gone with like Destiny and they've just covered it in these kind of pukey colors, and that's about it.
Yeah, man,
Destiny
this
has
color
really
hue,
good art design, but this just
Horrible
looks
turquoise, purple, neon yellow, neon green.
You know what's funny? When I was playing Split Fiction with Smash, they have some of their stuff, mainly like 1 or 2 fantasy levels, has the whole like bisexual lighting thing, the whole purple, pink, fucking annoying hue. But the funny thing is that even though it had that hue, most of the actual level wasn't that color. Most of the actual level was like your lush green forest and whatnot.
Right.
It just happened to be there was like one castle in the background that had some form of like a smoke or something like that had that, or like, it had that like pink and purple kind of look to it, but it wasn't so overtaking. Like I cannot stand when this stuff is so overtaken like this. It just looks washed. I don't know if that's the right word, but it just looks washed to me. So anyway,
it's like what we were saying about Splitgate. If you even look at just the picture of the box art for that, it's just trans colors and vaguely ethnic characters, androgynous and shit. It's completely lost the identity it had in the original.
While we're looking at this image right here, like all the characters look very dead as in their face. Like their eyes have no life.
Yeah.
Also, their lips, like everybody has black lipstick on, and what that does to a character is that it makes them appear more dead, because red lips. I mean, we know when women usually wear makeup, they have put red lipstick on because that signifies like the fertility. But when you put on the opposite, which is blue, that's more death. That makes the woman look more dead. So when you have like blue or black lipstick, that enhances the fact that these characters look more dead. they lack life.
Yeah. And another thing I noticed too is that this character here on the bottom left looks to be, again, I don't know if this is male. I'm actually looking at the lips. It might not be, but again, if it is,
like a Titan.
if it is male, it's like, again, his face is covered. Every female seems to have exposed face. I don't understand the significance of that. It's kind of odd to me. Do we think this game will do well? Is the question. Do we think it will?
It's a banger.
Be honest. Do we think it's gonna? It's a banger. Yeah, it's a banger.
Considering
Right?
the way we've reacted to it, most of us never having seen it before, probably not.
So do
the
we think
entire internet is like, nah, I'm good on that.
Here's a more fun question because it's Bungie, right? It's PlayStation, and I feel like this is a proper, question to ask because I haven't seen anything aside from the really ugly fucking characters. Do we think it will be woke? And do you think we will know about it before it actually releases?
I don't think that's the biggest problem with this project. How is more of the same going?
I'm just saying. Do you think it's going to have like Concord? Concord had the pronouns, for
Bungie,
example,
right? Because they retconned a lot of stuff for Destiny 2, making like two of the most masculine looking characters gay. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do something like that with this game.
Okay. Anybody else?
But like to the degree of like Concord or anything else, I don't know. I would hope not, but
I don't think that they need to, given the way the game looks. But you never know with this climate, with these deranged leftist lunatics that have to force their ideology into stuff.
To be honest, like with Concord, the wokeness wasn't even nowhere near the biggest issue. It was just something that people used to make fun of the game that already had all these other issues tied to it. So it's kind of similar to this. Like I'm looking at this game, and the last thing I'm thinking about is any potential wokeness because, to be honest with you, I can't even get past some of the initial problems that I see with it. But I just asked the question because I think it's a fun question to ask.
If we're talking about like gender identity, like if they don't include the pronouns in the selection, if they don't include that, my guess is just from watching the trailer, it looks like all of it looks like there's a possibility that all of the bodies are going to be the same, just very androgynous, and you can't tell if it's male or female.
Now, the excuse that they have for that, and I don't know if you can add some, developer knowledge to this. The excuse that they always come out with that, and they use this for Rainbow Six Siege with the whole 2B nonsense, was that they keep the bodies the same in order for hit detection. But considering the style of gameplay here, I gotta imagine probably bullshit, right? Like that's
no, you don't.
Really true.
So the only thing that needs to stay the same, as far as hit detection, well, hit detection is less important. It's more animation is more important than hit detection because hit detection can be outside the body. But as far as the animation, as long as it's the same size and the skeleton fits, so the mesh fits the skeleton. That's the only thing that really matters. That's why you have a lot of games where like the women are literally like the same height as men, even though realistically women are shorter and smaller than men.
Okay, I figured as much because that whole excuse that they did with 2B in Rainbow Six Siege when they did that super muscular, manly looking 2B, they were, people were trying to cope and see it and be like, oh, it's because they had to keep the model the same.
Yeah, that looked ridiculous. But I guess to play devil's advocate, at the very least, that character that they used gave her the skin for 2B. When you look at her her main skins, she looks like a buff woman. She doesn't look very, she doesn't have a figure.
I've seen her applied to other skins when people brought that up, but I was like, come on, man, you're just being lazy. You could design another model that looks more feminine, that has the same height, like you said. But truth be told, they just didn't want to do it, right? They wanted to reduce the time, the investment overall, and they just wanted to copy and paste it to the best of their ability. So, and they'll take the the mockery. They don't really care because for them, it looks amazing, I'm sure. So anyway, overall, when I saw this game, like I said, I was wholly unimpressed. I thought it was one of these like free-to-play titles at first, and then when I found out it's actually going to charge money, it's very interesting. Do you think that, really quick, the last question, do you think the lower costs will help a game like this that otherwise looks fucking like bland?
Nope.
Wouldn't make a difference to me.
$39.99 right now. What do you think?
It didn't help Concord. It won't help this. The market
This
just
is a
won't. They just won't
Bungie
do
game,
it.
though. It's a
The
Bungie.
most
don't think
important
it
thing is
matters.
for it to look cool, and I don't think this looks cool enough. I think it will probably get maybe some Destiny fans will see this and be like, okay, I like Bungie, I'm going to trust them, but I don't think this is going to draw a new audience.
This
so you
looks
don't
like what?
angry space lesbians? Why not?
Bro, based
Right.
off of the gameplay, like just go look at the gameplay. It's not going to make people want to play it.
I think disenfranchised live service gamers will give it a try. Like I have friends that they kind of hop from live service to live service, so they tend to try out anything new. But if you have someone that's been playing Apex Legends for like 5 years and they have like a whole stack of shit that they've earned over that period of time, like I don't think you're gonna convince them with this game that, oh yeah, this is the new thing. Like I'm gonna leave all this stuff that I've invested in all this time, all this money into in order to play this. Like I don't think that's the case.
Yeah.
I mean, this looks like what a corporation thinks is cool. It like not what we think is cool.
I mean, this game would have looked out of date 5 years ago, folks. It's not going to succeed. It's out of place. There are no new ideas here. That's
What
why
is
I'm
with
very
PlayStation doing that, by the way, Ryan? Like, that's actually a good fucking point. What is with PlayStation coming out with video games from genres that peaked like 5 years before they come out with them? Like, they did it with Concord. They're doing it with this. And are they still coming out with fair games? That Payday looking high scam?
Oh, yeah, that's still coming too. Yeah.
Hey, bro, when's the last time Payday was super relevant like that? I don't.
The problem is that they've been making these games for 5+ years. So
this is the problem with
speed it up a
AAA.
little, I guess.
It is. This is a problem we're seeing across the entire gaming industry. Is games that come out and look like they should have come out like 10 years ago or 5 years ago, whenever the genre was actually hot.
My first thought when seeing this, the first few seconds, it's like Cyberpunk 2077 and Apex Legends had a baby and shat out this.
But you have to also,
out of date.
You have to also take into account Sony as a company doesn't have an identity in a multiplayer space. They're trying to find that right now.
Yeah, they don't. They got felt
they used to.
Concord and they got nothing.
Yep.
You know, on the topic of how long it took them to make this, a problem is that they're not jumping on trends fast enough. When I worked at Treyarch, we were very fortunate that we were able to jump on the battle royale trend fast enough. Basically, we're working on a campaign that got scrapped, like a whole year and a half of development. The campaign was goofy. And then I was like, okay, this was too goofy for us to go through with it. And then it got scrapped. So we can't just release just a multiplayer. So one of the programmers was told, hey, make a prototype of PUBG as fast as you can. He used the assets for the campaign, made basically what ended up becoming the Warzone mode. Well, for Black Ops 4 was Blackout mode. But he made that like within a week. So because of the fact that we're able to jump on that trend fast enough, it worked for Treyarch. But, you know, when you take 5 years jumping on a trend that was 5 years ago, that's not going to work for AAA development.
Bro, look at
this. This is why we're seeing games that are coming out now that like Assassin's Creed Shadows. It's coming out now because the ideas that formulated it came about.
I don't hate that image right there. I don't hate it.
This one?
Yeah, I don't hate it.
No, that's
that's
what I'm saying. That's the original. This is how it originally looked, and this is what we're getting now. I'm like,
I don't see a difference. They both look the same to me.
They're the same picture.
All right, you know what? We don't need a guest tonight. Fine, let's
you know what this? You know what this looks like? What's that fucking game that came out last year? That was like the arena shooter where you could destroy the entire building.
Lady Gaga shit, bro. What is this, man? What is this?
They're trying to get young people on board to try these games, and it's at the expense of the IP, and it's at the expense of essentially everyone else. I don't like
young people aren't into all this deviant, freaky shit anymore, though. They're going trad.
Yes,
they need to realize that your older audience actually pays money. Like,
More
Space
money.
Marines too. Like, I'm sure some younger people were definitely playing that game, but a
Mhm.
lot of old head gamers were hyped as shit for that game. Like,
You know why? Because it wasn't a live service. It has an ending and replay value.
well, it
and,
actually
and
looks like it's made for men.
Yeah.
Older
Well,
men that
yeah.
actually have money and aren't fucking broke college kids.
Well, to be
That's
fair,
it.
it also did everything too, Will. Like, even though it wasn't a live service game, it still had a multiplayer aspect that actually was updated similar to a live service, but not quite.
Co-op, right?
Yeah, and well, not just that, they have multiplayer like PvP too. They had
Oh.
co-op missions, operations, and then they also had PvP, which actually was pretty decent. It wasn't, I jumped in there expecting just to mess around with it for an hour and just be whatever, but I was playing for hours. Like, the PvP is
Man,
actually pretty
I gotta
fun.
play that. I gotta play that. I've got it. Someone gifted it to me, and I really need to play it.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun. But I miss games, man, that look like this. I really do. Like that dark, gritty look. I miss this shit. When these games come out that have this fucking super bright neon colored lighting, like, bro, you guys are so obsessed with cyberpunk. Like, everything has to have this cyberpunk style look to it, and they think that's what the kiddies like now, and it's just.
But
Cyberpunk
looks
itself
Cyberpunk
used to look more like industrial shit, though.
Yeah,
rather than-
Cyberpunk 2077 actually took the style and made it look cool.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Well, because they made it gringy. Like
Yes.
they gave you that. Yes, some of it was very neon colored, of course, but they gave you that dark and gritty kind of atmosphere, especially in some areas more than others. But this game is just like, I don't know. I don't even know what the fuck I'm looking at. I literally think it's Lady Gaga. I'm not even kidding. When I see something like this,
trash.
This is what happened.
You don't want to give that a kiss?
CD
No.
Projekt Red took
All right.
Cyberpunk
Hell no.
as a style and then branded it and turned it into this neon fucking shit show where it looks like everything's been puked on by someone who drank too many fucking glow sticks in the club. And
That's gross.
and now you think like actual Cyberpunk is more like sort of industrial noir kind of thing with a lot of military shit and cybernetics and stuff. It's dark. It's not like, look at Final Fantasy VII is a good example. Like the city Midgar is Cyberpunk, not the game Cyberpunk. That's not Cyberpunk.
This comment actually is best because one of the worlds I love the most is the world of Blade Runner. I think Blade Runner is one of the best like futuristic worlds in terms of story and setting. I mean, I still remember playing the original Click game. I forgot what the exact title was, but like that Click action, not action, that Click adventure game back on PC way back in the day. I'm dating myself right now, but it's fucking awesome. Like that Click detective kind of adventure game.
Point and click.
Yeah, point and click, and you just explore the world of Blade Runner.
Mist?
And it's
There's
really
a Blade Runner one. Okay.
yeah, there was a Blade Runner one. I'll look it up after this, but
97.
there's a way to do this kind of style without making it so overtly colorful, if that's the word I'm looking for. I just crazy. Yeah, it's like gay. Yeah, lots of
Cyberpunk, you'll see lots of neon lights and things like that in cyberpunk dystopian cityscapes because they're supposed to be like failed crumbling decadence. It's not supposed to be bright and attractive. It's supposed to be gaudy and off-putting.
Yeah.
And they've missed that and tried to make it look attractive with the same stylistic choices, and it doesn't work.
I think the Shadowrun games by I think Harebrained Schemes, they made like 3 or 4 Shadowrun games about 10 years ago. I think they did a really great job, like just making the cyberpunk aesthetic, just making it just very dark, dirty, not a fun place to live.
You keep talking. This is Blade Runner. Point and click from way back in the day, and look how
same year as Final Fantasy VII.
Look at the game, like inside the game, it's incredible. This game is so good. Oh man, it's so good. I have the audio off on purpose.
That's Cyberpunk.
Blade Runner game. I don't know what I would do for one, but
that's Cyberpunk. So you've got neon lights, but everything's dark.
Yeah. It's very. This is such a good.
It's noir.
Fucking A, man.
Got that
this game was way ahead of its time.
It's Jay Leno.
This is the opening scene when you first land, and you got to like figure out who murdered who and what. God, it's such a good game. Anyway, so I miss that stuff. I really do.
Point and click was great in its heyday. Games like Broken Sword and Monkey Island and stuff, amazing.
Oh yeah. But yeah. Anyway, so I think this game is, again, I don't think it's gonna do bad. But I definitely think because they're charging the entry fee, it's probably not going to do as good as it could have. I think Bungie probably had its best chance making this free to play, with some sort of season pass, microtransaction, whatever. But looks like they're going with the entry fee. So I don't know. Final thoughts on Marathon?
That's how you get young people as well, because they're all fucking broke.
Exactly.
It also depends on
Marathon
who. It also depends on who it's releasing against. So I don't know what else is coming out around that time.
It's September, right?
September, yeah.
September 20.
But
you know what game's going to release around September? Fucking GTA 6.
GTA 6.
Well,
I don't think so, because look at Borderlands. Borderlands is a 2K game, and they're releasing it in September. 2K would obviously be like, "Hey, GTA is coming out at this time. Move that shit." So I don't think it's coming out in September.
I don't know. I think that
you know what is coming out in September? Terminator 2D No Fate.
That's awesome. I can't wait to play that.
As well as the Shinobi game.
Borderlands 4.
Oh, that got gifted to me the other day. I'm excited to play that. Yeah, Shinobi.
God damn it.
Same.
See, I gotta buy it. I'm gonna buy it. I don't know if they got co-op. We got a co-op.
But you know what's coming out right before September?
What's
Metal Gear Solid Delta.
God damn.
2K has two games coming out this year. What I'm assuming is before GTA. One is Mafia: The Old Country, which is coming out, leaked out in August, and then the next one is Borderlands 4 coming out in September. So I'm assuming GTA is coming out sometime after that. Maybe I'm guessing December.
Borderlands 4 comes out same day as Marathon.
Lukewarm take. I don't give a fuck about Borderlands 4. I didn't give a fuck
about
I don't know.
Garbage.
After 2, I was like,
I've said that so many times. I've checked out of Borderlands.